tonight. My last guest is a gentleman I wanted to meet for a long time because he is so smart. I don't know if either one of you have ever met him. He's a rock star. He's a brilliant businessman. He used to open, he's been around for a long time, since 1967. He's the guy that used to greet his fans at rock stars going, "Hey, pigs, hi, pigs." He's into the most wonderful kind of music. He has a new record album out called Frank Zappa, Jazz from Hell. Will you please help me welcome the Rasputin of rock, Frank Zappa. I'm thrilled to meet you. I used to watch you on CNN News all the time during the Senate, hearings, and just think how smart you were. Smart, smart, smart. Did you come from a smart family?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. What'd your parents do?
My father was a barber, and then he was a teacher, and then he worked aerospace, and then he had a heart attack.
And then didn't work anymore, or?
On and off,
Yeah. And your mother?
She was a librarian once.
So smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Uh-oh.
Two things. One, please don't mock the names of my children.
Oh, I was going to come out and say that you. I was talking about
two,
that. Yeah.
I gained a new respect for you when the wig came off.
Now, let me say, too.
Well, this is her weekend show.
It's my weekend show.
It was fabulous.
I wouldn't ever mock your children. I did it because I think they're both wonderful and very talented, and we've asked both of them to come on. So you know that. But why?
Weasel's here, by the way.
Is she? Oh, can he I know. I was thinking, because I was going to say, because. But now, why did you pick those kind of names? Didn't you know that would be a challenge for them?
It's the last name that gets you in trouble.
Not when you're in second grade.
Consider the beauty of a name like Ralph.
Okay. Did they mind as children?
Well, I think everybody wonders about their name. I mean, they called me Frank, and if you're in an Italian family and somebody names you Frank, you get to be Frankie boy for a long time. Yeah. That's not so terrific.
Yeah.
But Amit, one of the other funny names that you're talking about, he at one time wanted to change his name to Rick. We don't know why, but that blew over. Moon.
Did you let him when he said he wanted to change his name?
He said, call me Rick, so we called him Rick for a while, and then, smoothed out. Then Moon at one time wanted to be called Beauty Heart. Now, that lasted a little bit and then went away, but Dweezil was an exception, because when Dweezil was born, he was born natural childbirth, and that was at the Presbyterian Hospital here in Los Angeles. So when Gail was checking in, she was ready to deliver, you have to do all the paperwork and, all that stuff, and this woman wanted to know what we're going to call the child, and I said, Dweezil. And she was pleading and begging, not to call the child Dweezil. So at that point, it's like, we're not going to let you in unless you change the name of your baby. So I named 4 guys who were in the band that time. And that was Ian, Donald, Calvin, Euclid. That went on the birth certificate. Dweezil got to be about 6 or 7 years old and finds out that on his birth certificate, there are other names. He was very distressed about it and demanded to have his name legally changed to Dweezil. So we got a lawyer, and his name is, officially, Dweezil Zappa.
Okay. If they like it, start with me. Yeah. Now, when Moon did her record, Valley Girl, did you have any idea what was going to happen out of that? I mean, that changed. That became part of American culture.
Yeah, well, she knew, I didn't know, and neither did anybody at CBS who was distributing this stuff at that time, so much for the wisdom in the corporate suite. It was a big surprise.
Is she want to do more records, or she doesn't consider herself a singer?
Well, Dweezil has a new album out, and so she's singing on that, and a couple of cuts on it. And they just finished a video, which will be going on MTV very soon. You can see her singing on this.
I asked this yesterday, I think it was yesterday, when you look at your children, because I can't look at my child and know whether or not she's talented. I have to hear that from outside people. Can you look at your kids and say, God, they're talented, or do you feel you're too close to them and too loving?
No, I can look at them and say, yeah, they're talented.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's fun. Did your parents think you were talented when you said, I'm going to go into music?
My parents were not interested in talent. They were interested in having me do something good. like be an engineer.
So, when you said surprise, surprise...
There was quite a bit of dissuasion. I don't think that they regret it.
No, well, not now.
Yeah.
But that's
Not
hindsight.
now, but, you know.
So now they tell me you lecture at colleges.
Yeah, I just did a few.
Yeah. Do you like that?
It's different.
Yeah.
It's very different, yeah.
What do the kids ask you mainly?
Well, the format is I speak for a half an hour. I say, these are my opinions, you know, this is what I feel about current event topics. I'll tell you for a half an hour, and then we'll have an hour question and answer, and then it can be anything.
So, for example, what are the big topics now? AIDS, I would imagine, comes
Yeah.
up.
Well, yeah, I tell them what I think about AIDS.
What do you think about AIDS?
Remember the fairy tale they told you about the green monkeys? They tell you about these green monkeys, and then they remind you that this is a sexually transmitted disease. I have one big question. Who's pluking the monkeys? So, once you get past the, you know, that seems like kind of an implausible theory if you look at it that way. So I offer 3 other possible scenarios. 1, because remember, it is announced suddenly, one day in November, 700 people died from a disease we never heard about before. One possibility, it came from outer space. Another one, it came from a government laboratory. Not saying whose, could have escaped, could have been done on purpose as a test on civilians. The other possibility is it came from a private sector laboratory for money. Because when they find the pill that you can take to let you do it again, somebody's going to make some money. There's no question about that.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's ugly, but it's...
Yeah, but it's fascinating.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. What else they ask? I imagine they ask about Star Wars.
All right. In terms of Star Wars, the thing you have to remember is anybody in this audience or out there who believes that this device that they're going to launch into the sky is going to be the umbrella to protect this country from anything coming from someplace else, ask yourself one thing. Does it kill germs? It don't kill germs. I think both sides would like to do away with the nuclear warheads because they mess up the real estate.
You're very smart. They don't know whether to applaud or not. You're just so smart. I've sat and watched you during the Senate hearings. How do they call you? Do you volunteer for that, or do they call you for that?
The minute I heard they were going to do it, I had my lawyer call them and say I wanted to go down there.
Yeah. Explain a little bit.
I started...
For the 3 people that don't know what we're talking about.
It began with an invitation to debate Candy Stroud on the CBS Night Watch News. I think it was last August. And I'd never heard that anybody was claiming that rock and roll lyrics were causing all these problems. I mean, it baffled me. And when I went there, I still didn't know what the routine was, even though the PMRC and their friends had been talking about this stuff since May. So they gave me the clipping of the article that the woman had written, and I debated her. Now, we're in a room with 50 people. It's a live audience, live debate. It was supposed to be live on tape. It was supposed to be 1 hour long. What they did was they cut the thing down when it finally went on the air. She had her own children sitting in the audience and winds up reciting in front of them all the things that she felt should have been hidden from them. And then after the show, wanted to have her picture taken with me and the children. From that moment, I said, there's something strange going on here. I leave the room and find out they're going to have a congressional hearing on it, and I said I wanted to participate. That's how I got there.
There's a rumor going around, you play your record backward and you hear Pat Boone. But that's probably just... We'll be back at this message of interest, so please stay tuned. Okay.
The Late Show has been brought to you by Western Union, the fastest way to send money, and by Ruffy's. How tough are Ruffy's? They're tough enough. Ruffy's, big tough bags, little sissy price.